Harper Audio presents 60 Minutes to Master Buddhism by Michael Chaskalson, read by Edward Killingback.
Introduction. Over half the world's population lives in countries which have been significantly influenced by Buddhist ideas and practices. But what is Buddhism? We are used to thinking of religion as being somehow about a belief in God, in one or another of the many guises in which he is seen. But there is no God in Buddhism. Is it then simply a philosophy, a way of thinking about the world, or a way of leading a more ethical life? Or is it a kind of psychotherapy, a way of helping us to come to terms with ourselves and with the dilemmas life constantly throws up? Buddhism contains all of these to some extent, but it is also very much more. The Buddha is not a name, it is a title, meaning one who is awake. Awake to the highest reality, to things as they really are. And one becomes a Buddha through achieving enlightenment, a state of transcendental insight into the true nature of reality. There have been many enlightened individuals throughout Buddhist history, but the term the Buddha is usually used to refer to one particular enlightened individual, Siddhartha Gautama, the founder of the Buddhist religion, the first person in our era to tread the path to enlightenment. Siddhartha was born in about 485 BCE, before Common Era, in Lumbini, near the town of Kapilavastu, in the area below the foothills of the Himalayas, which spans the current Nepalese border with India. He began to feel dissatisfaction with his privileged life, and so he became a wanderer as he sought truth and spiritual liberation. As he wandered, he taught the Dharma. Dharma is a complex Sanskrit word which can mean law or way or truth. Here it stands for all those teachings and practices which lead one towards enlightenment. Over time, the Dharma that the Buddha taught came to be systematized, repeated for hundreds of years in a purely oral tradition. The Buddha himself, like most of his kinsmen, was probably illiterate. The Dharma eventually formed the basis of an immense literary tradition. The Buddha's fame as a teacher spread throughout northern India, an area of 50,000 square miles, encompassing 7 different nations. Wherever he could, the Buddha tried to help people to see things as they really are, responding to every situation out of the depths of his wisdom and compassion. For most of his teaching career, the Buddha was accompanied by his cousin and close friend Ananda, who is reputed to have had a prodigious memory. All the doctrinal stories in the Buddhist scriptures are attributed to him, for apparently he remembered all the different occasions on which the Buddha taught, and recounted them in full to a council of the Sangha, which was called after the Buddha's death, thus laying the foundations of an oral tradition which preserved the teachings until they began to be committed to writing several hundred years later. These teachings and methods of Buddhism ultimately have one goal alone: to enable us to be clearer, wiser, happier, and freer than we currently are, and to penetrate directly to the heart of reality. Chapter 1. The Dharma. Rather than a single pleasantly portable Bible, the Buddhist canonical literature is very extensive. Traditionally, it is spoken of as the Tripitaka, the 3 baskets. There is the Sutra Pitaka, the collection of discourses either spoken by the Buddha or by one or another of his enlightened disciples, the Vinaya Pitaka, which contains accounts of the development of the early Sangha, as well as the monastic code, and the Abhidharma Pitaka, a compendium of Buddhist psychology and philosophy. One of the most common ways in which the Dharma has been transmitted is by way of the lists, with which Buddhism abounds. The list of lists is immense. There are, to name but a very few, those which between them make up the 37 Bodhipakkhya Dampnas.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?